Magic Man, tennis preacher, prophet, and the psychic coming back at you again with another video. Okay, people, this discussion we're getting ready to have now, I'm gonna tell you, it's one of the most important discussions to have as far as the development of tennis is concerned, development of a tennis player is concerned, understanding why some tennis players become pros, why some become super pros, why some become no pros, why some... this discussion is going to help people understand how tennis champions are crafted, or how non-champions are crafted here. Okay, people, when I was having that whole Rod Laver, versus Federer greatness debate, there was a lot of people that came back with comments like, those older players are not as good as these players today. Bull crap. And you know what? I just didn't say anything. I know I responded to other stuff, but I knew, and not so much disrespect, I knew that wasn't true. Or let me just say this here before I get into this whole thing of the how you say, the new stuff versus the old stuff. When I was training, we call it the new shit versus the old shit, okay? Now, before I get into that whole thing here, I would like to say something to all of y'all. People, I've been teaching tennis for maybe the last 25 to 30 years, coaching, teaching. So I have a lot of experience of understanding like the old tennis. I'm just using versus the new. It's not even versus, because it's not even old tennis versus new tennis. What you want to do, and people, what you want to do, if you're a player and you want to be a pro, or if you just want to be a tennis player, just a recreational player, you want to have the old, what we call, when I was training in North Hollywood, California, well, what we called it, excuse the language, people, but this is what we actually called it. We call it the old shit. And we also like the new shit. And so what you want to do is combine those two things. So, but I want to get back to that question though, is that are the new players, say today's players, are they really better than the older players? Now, when I say like older players, I think probably we say 1990s. Let's start, okay, we're going to say the Pete Sampras era started in the early 90s, okay? Pete Sampras won his first first major in 1990, U.S. Open. So let's say we're going to call the old school from 1990 on back, even though Pete Sampras was old school and new school, but we're gonna say from the early 1990s up to now, we'll call that like the new shit, okay? It is really the new shit now. But let's get back to the question. Well, first of all, before I get back to the question, I was going to tell y'all, like I said before, I've been training and teaching people tennis, and let me just say this to you all. I don't want this to turn into a old players versus new players, because that's not what this is about. So before somebody even try to come back and comment and turn this into, Magic Man, these new players will crush these old players, of course they will. Okay, they got a high level of power and stuff, but that may be all they got compared to the older players. But I'm gonna get into that. But I just want to tell y'all, people, I'm an advocate. Say if you was taking if I was training any one of you out there, I'm gonna teach y'all. I'm a big advocate of the new shit. I believe in the iPhone 10. Believe me, I don't believe in just walking around with the Andy Griffin phone. But so I believe in the advanced stuff and advancing the strokes. I love to see new strokes, new technology, new rackets. I love to see, like when Federer comes out with a new racket. So I'm a big advocate of the new shit, but I also like the old shit. And believe me, and so that's what the debate is today. Is the new shit really better than the old shit? Now, like I said before now, you need both. For example, people, let me tell y'all something. As advanced, we know Federer, he has the new stuff, the new shit. But Federer is more old school than you guys think he is, okay? Also, Nadal has the new stuff, but Nadal, one of the best defensive players, also the Djokovic too. All three of those greats, they got the old school mental game, and they got the old school defensive game. Okay, and also they got the old school strategic game. Okay, now let me just start here. Let me just say this here for somebody even come out with some crazy stuff. I'm not saying that the older players can beat the can get in a time machine with the old shit and beat the new shit. They wouldn't beat the new players because the players today, people, got a high level of power and a high level of strength. Okay? From conditioning, from doing massive squats, push-ups, all kind of agility stuff. I mean, all kind of high-tech physical conditioning stuff. So that's what the new players got. They got a high level of power and spin power too, a high level of strength from all the gym technology, and that's people. You know what? That's pretty well what the new players got, and that's put into a high level of match play. Now, people, let's go to the old school players. Let me tell y'all what the old school. Y'all remember I told y'all that Chung got that old school mentality, that old school focus, and y'all see how good Chung is and how good he's gonna be. Even Federer said this boy gonna win some majors. Chung got that old school stuff. So let me tell you what the old school. Let me tell y'all what the old shit has that the new shit doesn't have. Well, only Federer, Nadal, the Djokovic, only those three, they really have the mental stuff that the old school players got. And so that's the first thing. The old school guys, their mental game is better than the new games. People, can y'all imagine if Kyrgios had Arthur Ashe's mind, or Rod Laver's mind, or Jimmy Connor's mind of Kyrgios? And not just Kyrgios, man. You know what, people? Those of you who are going to quickly come back and try to disagree with me, you know, I went to this. It was a big tennis camp where parents are paying like $5,000 a week for their kids to become pros. And guess what the head director said? He looked out at all these students, man. These guys are crushing the ball. He said, they got all this power, Magic, man, tennis prophet, but they have no mental game, and they're not going to make it. They'll never be a Federer. They'll never be a Djokovic, or even less than that. They have no mental game. So all these people, all these new players, they got all these big strokes, big power, big strength, jumping off the ground, crushing the ball like Kyrgios, but they have no mental game like the older players. Also, the new players, they don't play strategically. Now, like I said before, eliminate the champions. Those people who are champions, okay, they got the old school stuff. Even like a Chilich. Chilich got old school stuff. He got the new stuff too. And that's why Chilich is a champion. Yeah, Chilich plays strategic and all that. So that's number two. The older players, they play strategically. Like, people, if y'all look today, though, these new players, they don't serve in volley. Man, y'all watch the older players. They serve in volley all the time. Came to the net, volleyed the ball away right. They use drop shots. People, even, I think Federer, as great as Federer is, people, and we know how great Federer is. Federer, I think he should serve in volley more. He got the serve. He got the volley. I don't think he should serve in volley all the time like Pete Sampras, but I think Federer should serve in volley 30 to 40% of the time. It would probably make his job a lot easier and his matches much quicker. So, but the old school, they serve in volley all the time. So yeah, so the old school, and also people, the old school players, oh man, I'm trying to think, what else does the older school players have? But like I said, they have so number one, they have the mental game that's better than the newer players. They have a more strategic play on the court. The strategy, hey man, listen, even though those older players hit a lot slower, the strategy is much better. Can you imagine if Kyrgios added more strategic stuff to his game? I mean, Kyrgios got the game, but he needs to add more strategy to it. More mental stuff, mental strategy. This way, that way, nice setups. So get back to the question now. Of course, like I said before, of course, the players today could beat some 1950s or 1960s or 1970s or 1980s player like a McEnroe. But I don't think just because they could beat them, that don't make them better. Man, those older players got game. They got mental game. They got strategy, and they got a high focus. And I'm gonna tell you something. The older players also had a higher level of intensity. It wasn't a lot of lapses and all this stuff. Man, like Chris Evert and those guys, Martina Navratilova, man, their concentration was so high from the beginning of the match to the end of the match, okay? And so I just wanted to bring that point up. So, and people may be saying, well, why are you making this video? It's just so people may be wondering, why can't Kyrgios win a major? Okay? Kyrgios need that old school stuff. If I was coaching Kyrgios, and Kyrgios say, Magic Man, give me some new strokes. No, you don't need any new strokes. You got enough strokes. And you need to stop doing that old between the legs you're doing. Okay, that's cool. But you need that mental game. The between the legs is all right, but you better throw some mental stuff with that. Okay, people? But back to the question. Is the new shit better than the old shit? Not really. It's both of it is good. You need both. You need the new stuff and you need the old stuff, and you need to craft it together. And you'll be and if you do that, you'll be a Federer, you'll be a Nadal, and you'll be a Djokovic. Okay, people, tennis preacher, prophet, psychic, signing off. Have a good one.